Yeah, I agree that Biden in some ways has more to lose, but there's people who Trump is going into this event a convicted felon. Trump is going into this event promising, uh, to be a dictator. Trump is going to this event with more and more people learning about Project 25. Um, I agree that Biden may have more to lose, but Trump has a lot more. He has a lot more liabilities. He has a lot more mistakes to exploit. And the first mistake to exploit is the fact that while Biden has a lot to lose, he also has a low bar um, as relates to what he needs to do to be successful. The Trump people have gone ahead and leaning into this, oh, he's old, he's feeble, he's in cognitive decline. He They've set a low bar for him. So yeah, he does have a lot to lose, but he also has a low bar to surpass, right? He just has to show that he can stand for 90 minutes. He just has to show that he can complete a sentence. Trump, meanwhile, is Mr. Magnifico, and we know he can't even go off prompter. We know how horrible he is, right? So I would I still think that yeah, Biden's got more to lose, but Trump's got more liabilities. Trump's got more fault lines. Trump is going to make Trump is going to make way more mistakes than Biden will, and Biden is much better at using football analogies. It's sometimes an evenly matched game is being able to exploit your opponent's mistakes, right? It is the pick six, right? Because if you can get that pick six, you're off to the races. But is Tom Brady going to throw an interception? Well, I think Trump's going to be throwing a ton of interceptions, right? But another thing I want to say, and then we'll switch to boxing. And I love your talk about, just like in the NFL where your first 15 plays are scripted, quoting to legendary boxing philosopher Mike Tyson, everybody has a plan until they get punched. Don't you think that Biden is better on his feet than Trump, especially within rules? Trump's a cage fighter. Biden's a boxer. Cage fighting has fewer rules than boxing. Biden is going to be practicing the sweet science. Trump is going to be going in trying to do MMA. And the thing about it, just so you know, uh, when most part of the reasons why you see a lot of boxers going to MMA, but you see fewer MMA guys going to boxing, or being successful in boxing, is because when you go when an MMA person becomes a boxer, guess what happens? They give up two of their weapons, their legs. And so oftentimes boxers do better. An MMA guy does horrible in a boxing ring because he has, you're literally saying you only have your hands. And so that analogy of boxing, is potentially making sense because he's going to have to give up his weapons. There are not any weapons, in my opinion. Do you think there's any weapons that Biden is giving up for this debate?
Um, I think the crowd, in the sense that although it won't be a all Biden crowd, but the majority of Americans believe in what Democrats are policy wise. So I think the one thing I could look to is that Biden won't get the cheers that would get for like $35 insulin or unions, right? And that stuff would do well. But that's the only kind of maybe ammo that Biden gave up in this. Yeah.
But he gives up really very little weapons, whereas Trump has to give up his legs. He literally has to give
Yeah.
up his
No.
legs,
So
and
it's interesting. I'm going to take your argument. I'm going to reframe it because I understand what you're saying. Biden does have more to lose. I'm going to use a boxing analogy, and I'll take it to an analogy for a sport we don't often talk about, mostly because our teams are not doing great, although your team is historically not doing great. And I will talk about baseball. Um, Biden has more to lose, but Trump needs to gain more ground. So when not that it's not that Biden's going to blow him out. I do think the election is pretty straightforward. It's 50-50. But in this case, I think Biden, if you're the home team and you have more to lose, that means what? In boxing, you could do the Floyd shoulder. You just don't get knocked out, right? And you win off technicalities. In baseball, you feel the ground balls, you pitch well. You don't need 15 runs, right? You just got to play your game, get out after the ninth inning. Trump has more. You're right. He does have more liabilities, but I think he has just more ground to gain, right? He's not the incumbent. He's trying to knock off the incumbent. With that, you need home run swings. You need knockout punches. And it's funny because he talked about the MMA because if I'm down after the second round, I'm going for your head. Same in boxing. If I'm down, if I go to the corner and my trader's like, you're down, I was like, all right, I got to start swinging. But as you in baseball, again, baseball, you got to go for the fences, right? You're down 9 runs, you're upticking your bat and you try to swing for the fences. So when you do that, you often strike out, you whiff on punches, and it always most likely will turn bad for you. Biden has more to lose doesn't mean that he will lose it. I just think the stakes are a little bit higher for him. But Trump has a lot of ground to gain, and I think that's going to be at a disadvantage if he's going to talk policy.